And I set up a partnership with the absolutely amazing Drew Cavalier. We're going to be playing in the Von Zedwitz Life Master pairs. Unfortunately for us, there is no Q next to our name. We did not make it. Next session of Bridge, we're playing the NABC Plus pairs. First session of the NABC Plus pairs, we got a 51.27%. We got a very clear Q with a 56.49%. We got 56.87. It showed us another 56%, and we came 16th overall. So that's the story on how I got my best result so far. I'm playing the Spingold tomorrow. I'm not going to be going this in depth with all the other days, but the Spingold is this huge knockout teams event. It's like one of the most notorious bridge events in the world. It was me and Isaac Stone and Olivia Laufer and Quan Chen, two Canadian juniors that were playing on the Canadian team in Salsa Maggiore just previously. We're going to try and see how we do. We played in the Spingold last time and we got knocked out first time. But here's the deal. They make the Spingold particularly difficult for newcomers or people that don't have much notoriety, such as myself, because they want to be sure that the top players aren't playing the top players in the very beginning. Since we have very little notoriety, we are generally placed against the top teams in the very beginning, and it's very difficult for us to make it out of these events. Last year, we played in Toronto, and we played against Team Wolfson, and there are a few names that you might recognize on there. There's Jeff Wolfson, there's Steve Garner, there was David Gold, and Zia Mahmoud. Love that man. Oh my gosh. And then we had David Berkowitz and Jeff Mextroth. That was the team that we had to play against in Toronto. Was amazing to play against. We lost the first set by like 76. It was horrible, but we pulled back. We managed to win the next set by some margin of 8, and then we managed to tie a set, and then we lost the final set by 3 or something. So if we got rid of the first set, we would have won that match, but I like they were probably like not playing as intensely because the first set was just so good for them. That was last year, but this year we were playing against Team Fleischer. Oh my gosh. The sponsor of this team, Marty Fleischer, is one of the people who makes it routinely and wins these Spingold events, or like comes in consistently in the top 4 teams in these top national events, or like gets placed on the United States team. Like, these guys are the real deal. So the team is Marty Fleischer and Chip Martell. Very common partnership. They've been playing with each other for forever. They're so unbelievably strong, even though they're technically a pro-client pair. The other pairs were Versace Cementa, 2 legendary Italian players, and Locenzini and Bessi. Oh, oh my God. And not only were we playing against them, but like we were playing Strong Diamond against them. So they were probably having a lot of fun, like figuring out this system. We played the first set, and Isaac and I were having what felt like an outstanding set. Like, we were doing so well. It felt so good. Like, board 2 was us in slam doubled making. I can't tell you how many doubled contracts there were that were in our favor. Like, we made doubled contracts. We set a lot of their contracts that we doubled. It was crazy. But the second board that we played against them was a slam that they doubled, and we made it. It was like some crazy thing. I was like, these guys aren't invincible. This is amazing. So like, we felt like we were having a really good set. They made it to like a 3-no trump that had like absolutely nothing. We set them in a few contracts, but towards the end, there were a lot of part scores that went their way that felt very normal to us. But what I found with this entire team was they were competing very aggressively over our Strong Diamond, getting us out of our comfort zone. We were still fine because we have a lot of agreements and we're able to deal with the interference, but like, they were competing super aggressively and making their contracts. Whereas at the other table, they were in other part scores making their contracts. So it was very difficult. And unfortunately, the very first set, we were playing against the 2 completely pro pairs. We were playing against Locenzini and Bessi, while our teammates, they were sitting against Cementa and Versace. And they played well. We played our best. Unfortunately, we started off by being like down 42 or something. The first segment was actually not great whatsoever, even though it felt so good for us. Like, it felt like we were doing really well. Oh, and not to mention, we were on ViewGraph. for these first two sets, except the first one was kind of flubbed, unfortunately, because the sets did not match what the boards that we were playing, so that never got broadcast. But the second set was view graph, so you can see Team Stone versus Team Fleischer, and you can see what happened, and you can compare what you did versus our Strong Diamond stuff. It's in the view graph archives. Okay, but the second set, we were playing against Versace and Samantha, and our teammates were playing against Fleischer and Martel. And this one really did not feel so good to me. Like there were some good boards. There was a comment made by Versace and Samantha where they were like genuinely surprised how on the same page we were with all of these things. In that set, Versace and Samantha were like being very aggressive, like trying to get us out of our comfort zone, because most of the time when people make these systems like Strong Diamond, you could just bid in front of them and they're going to be like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. We haven't discussed this, blah, 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 blah. But Isaac and I have a very, very good understanding of what we do in these situations where there's interference. And we would constantly be telling them exactly what we had, and we would be backing that up with the cards that we had. And it seemed like they were very impressed how on the same page we were. Maybe there was some bridge logic that was lacking. Like maybe we shouldn't have been doing some of the things that we were doing, but we were on the same page. It felt really good to get props from Versace and Samantha that they were like, wow, they keep telling us that these things and they actually have what they are saying. This is like really cool. There were some bad boards. It didn't feel outstanding. And I thought that we were like, oh, we're just out of it. We're down for the count. There's absolutely no way. And we go back and we compare, and we only lost this set by something around like 20. So we were like, oh, good. So I think at the total at that point, we were down by 72. So kind of where we were at, it's just like in the Wolfson match, but worse, because we only have 2 matches to make it up this time. You know, after that, we go to lunch, we get some food. Like, Olivia thinks it's a great idea to get a Georgian cheese boat. Like, this is the delicious rye bread with goat cheese and macadamia nuts and plums that have been drunk in wine. It was so good. And it was cooked in wine, so we weren't actually, like, consuming alcohol before a big match. We're not like that, okay? I'm not crazy. But that was so good. But I digress. We come back, and the rest of the sets we play against Lorenzini and Bessy, whilst our teammates are playing against Fleischer and Martel. This next set, the third set, it's absolutely hilarious. The first 5+ scores that we have, there were plenty of different scores, but the first 5+ scores that we had against Lorenzini and Bessy in this set, they were all doubled. All of them. Every single one. Like, it was either us in a doubled contract making or us doubling them and going down. Like, we had no fear with the doubles. I think that probably somewhere around a quarter of the results that we got were in doubled contracts from this set. I cannot tell you how crazy it all was. In set 3, we won by something like 13. We beat Team Fleischer by 13 imps. And that just felt amazing. Like, that was a win. Like, that was enough in the Spingold. I was so happy. Okay, I was in a dream state. It was so great. So we beat them in set 3. Then we go into set 4. And now Isaac and we're tired, of course, but we're playing against Lorenzini and Bessy again. And Bessy is starting to get a little bit frustrated because I think he had a date or something. So, like, he's getting a little bit grumpy, but also Isaac and I are starting to crack a little bit in terms of our agreements. We had some obscure stuff that we hadn't really talked about all that much, or there might have been flip-flopping in the system. So we messed some stuff up. And I think it was only 2 things that we had messed up. And they were, once you start playing against opponents where you're like, they have this complex system, but they don't even know what they're doing, it becomes very, very frustrating. And I understand that. But we've been doing so well this entire time. And unfortunately, you start to get a little bit frustrated over these 2 little discrepancies that we had, which I understand, especially when you're starting to get a little bit hangry and you want to go get dinner and all of that. So I understand, but it was just kind of frustrating from us because there was a comment at one point, it's like, okay, maybe if you can't remember what you're doing, then maybe you shouldn't play a system. And I'm like, we've been perfect this entire time except for these 2 cases. I'm sorry. I didn't say that, but like, you know, because I'm not confrontational, I just kind of was like, okay, sorry. But despite all of that, and we had some more doubled contracts and things. I think the very first thing on that set was there was this contract that got up to 5 clubs, redoubled by them, and it made. Later In that same set, my partner and I got to a 5 clubs doubled. My partner was so close to redoubling, and it would have been so funny. We both were in 5 clubs redoubled making, and I don't remember the boards, unfortunately, and they were not duplicated, so I can't get them, but it did happen, I swear. It was crazy. So it was very funny. At the end, Bissy ran away to go get dinner, but Lorenzini stayed for a while and chatted with Isaac mostly. He was very kind and very supportive. He was like, yeah, you guys were good. It was good playing against you. And we were like, oh my gosh, we loved playing against you. Thank you so much. Sorry we didn't withdraw, but we wanted to play. And this final set, we won the set by 7 or something like that. Some small number, but we won half of the sets. They won by more, so they still moved on. But winning 2 sets against Team Fleischer, I was over the moon. The previous day, I got 16th in an ABC Plus pairs, and then we played against Team Fleischer. We only lost by 52, and we won 2 of the segments. I was so unbelievably happy. That basically made my tournament. It was so much fun. And then the next 4 days, I just directed. It was a lot of fun. Like, I learned so much. They kept me in the regional Swiss room pretty much the whole time. I probably could, like, I don't think I can mess up a Swiss game anymore. I learned a lot, and there were a lot of fun calls, and they're going to be their own stories and things, but I was really, really appreciative of being able to direct at nationals and learn all of these things. And I made money, and then when I got home, by the end of it, I was like net plus $1,000. It was amazing. But the very last day of directing was probably my favorite, because all of my friends from the collegiates, they play in the collegiates, and this is what they were preparing for this entire time, is collegiates, teams from the same college or pairs from the same college come to compete in collegiates to try to win scholarships. And my friends were playing in collegiates, and they were like, oh, you should totally be directing the collegiate events. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, but like there's a pretty big conflict of interest here. I think it would be really, really cool if we had a collegiate director directing collegiates, and of course there would be more directors there, but eventually I finally got my shot when the overlord boss, Mackenzie Myers, we love Mackenzie, all the directors I worked with are just so much fun. I just love being a director mostly because of the conversations I have, but also like learning about the bridge and all of that stuff. It's just such a great job. But eventually Mackenzie tells me, hey Kai, we have enough people in the regionals room, so we're going to move you to collegiates for the afternoon. And I was like, yes, let's go. That was fun. I was there with Christina. Shout out to Christina, who was directing that event. And we just had so much fun together. We were doing our job, but it was so much fun directing with Christina, because we could like just joke and chill out. And like also being in the collegiate room, it has a very different air from the rest of the bridge tournament. Like it's goofy in there. So like I can go around and be making jokes whenever somebody does a bad thing. And I'm like, oh, we have to resolve this and all of this stuff. Like here's my favorite auction from the entire tournament. Okay. The auction started with 1 club, pass, 1 heart, pass, 2 diamonds, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds. Insufficient bid, and it was accepted to 2 diamonds so that they could show support at the 2 level. Super funny. It went pass from that point. And like the 2 clubs is not unauthorized information because it's a legal bid. So lots of fun stuff going on there. And also to mention, I'll tell you a little bit about the collegiate format. So there's a teams event and there's a pairs event. And the pairs event is just like normal pairs, yada yada. Teams event is a little bit weirder. I think there were somewhere around 18 teams to start out this time, or maybe it was somewhere in the 20s. There were plenty of teams that were going, and they got collegiate packages, and they will pay for these collegiate teams to go, and they will pay for the hotels so that the collegiate teams come at no expense, and they have a chance at getting scholarships if they do win. So the second half of the entire tournament, I was staying with my friends in their collegiate accommodations. So I had a free hotel, and that was even better for the ACBL because they didn't have to reimburse me for the hotel expenses that I had because I didn't have any hotel expenses whatsoever. But the collegiate format was there were somewhere like 22 teams, and the first day was just a Swiss. And for some reason, the top 12 teams make it through to the next day. And then the next day is a gauntlet. Oh my gosh, if you make it further, the first time is a head-to-head knockout. You take 12 teams and you go down to 6 teams. After that, you have another head-to-head match. After that head-to-head match, There's 3 teams that go on to the finals and 3 teams that go on to the 4th, 5th, 6th match, because 4th place gets a scholarship. The top 3 get scholarships as well, but the 4th placing is a scholarship, so you need to be able to play for 4th place. Now, I'm not sure why the conditions of contest would require this format, but what it ended up being is that you had a morning, afternoon, and evening session, and all of it was exhausting. Like, they played, like, I don't know, somewhere around 80 boards between all of them. It was insane. And I think that maybe it needs to be, like, just personally from an outside perspective, it needs to be rethought. It was really tiring. But the other reason why it wasn't great is because the evening session of the finals, and that went, like, they were playing bridge from 10 a.m. all the way to, like, practically midnight. It was crazy. But during that evening session, Adam Kaplan, the legend himself, he's currently, well, he might not be when the video comes out, but Adam Kaplan is on the USA 1 international team right now. He was there, and he created this event called Crazy Bridge. I love Crazy Bridge. I despised it before, but I love Crazy Bridge because I've learned to be less serious about bridge. And this basically is a amazing game that, like, he's a huge proponent of. And, like, there's plenty of other people who really love this. But we basically filled, like, 1/16 of the regionals room, which was, like, this ginormous ballroom. Absolutely huge. Full of Crazy Bridge tables. And the way that Crazy Bridge works is each board has a very special rule, and you have to follow that rule. And, like, stuff is, it's kind of silly. Things are like, oh, you're allowed to revoke, or you play out all the cards and the contracts and all of this stuff, and the last 5 cards are a poker hand, and that gets you so many tricks. Like, the best poker hand gets 3 tricks, the second best poker hand gets 2 tricks, and that's how you determine the last 5 tricks. There was another one called Axe Throwing Contest, which was actually absolutely insane. You didn't have to stop at the 7 level, and the only thing that would end the auction is either 3 doubles or 5 rounds of bidding have occurred. So you get up to astronomical levels. We were just chickens, and we ended up in 3 clubs doubled, because we actually thought that everyone had to double in order for the auction to be over instead of it being 3 doubles. But oh well. Oh, and also you could only pass once. Each person could only pass once. What? Crazy rules. Super fun. And I mean, there was this crazy hand. We were playing this rule called Forbidden Fruit. And I picked up this hand, and the rule was that if you are in a trump suit, you cannot lead the trump suit. And that's what the Forbidden Fruit is. And the second rule is that if you end up in a no trump contract, no one can lead hearts. And the only way that you can lead these cards is if the last cards are only in the trump suit or the heart suit if it's no trump. So I was playing against Quan in this one, and they thought that they were geniuses. They didn't have any discussion, but they came up with this amazing system where anytime that you bid hearts, it's showing shortness. So if you have shortness, then you want to be in 3 no trump because the defense cannot be leading hearts. So they came up with this great idea. One of them bids hearts, and then the other instantly bids 3 no trump, and then I double them. I have 5 hearts, but I'm just like, they're crazy. They're absolutely insane. I have so many points. And my partner also, I think, bid diamonds at some point, and I had a diamond suit. So I was like, okay, so there's no way that this is making ever. All right. So how the hand went is I'm like, okay, I would love to lead hearts, but I know I can't lead hearts. So I'm not going to do something illegal. I'm not going to get Adam Kaplan, director, called over to our table and be like, I don't know what to do here because you led a heart when you can't lead a heart. It's just unauthorized information. I guess you just have to lead something else. So what I did is I just led my partner's suit. I led diamonds. All right. They had 1 stopper. They cashed a few tricks and tried to set up a trick. And at that point, my partner ran all of their diamonds, and then I signaled for clubs because I had the ace of clubs. Partner then played the king of clubs and then a club to my ace. And at this point, I only had 5 cards left, and you can guess what those 5 cards were. The opponents couldn't. They were like, oh, we've got you. We've got the rest of the tricks, yada, yada, because you can't lead a heart. And I was like, but I can. I lead a heart. And they're like, they look at me like, what? And I'm like, I only got hearts left. Can't you count? And then we just cashed 5 heart tricks. And we were like, woo! Let's go! It was amazing. We got plus 2,000 for that. And it was a good score, but like we weren't really keeping score. Like they were going to try to manually match point it, but it would have taken a lot of work and it was already midnight. So it was kind of like, you know, we were just there having fun. So unfortunately, my friends did not get a scholarship. They placed 6th in the collegiate event, but it was a really good effort. Shout out to Bernice, Evelyn, Isaac, Dan, and Reese for being amazing players, for being super great friends, and for taking me in on all of these accommodations. Thank you, Isaac, for speaking with your aunt and uncle and making it okay for us to be able to stay at their place. It was an absolute dream. But yeah, I think that was kind of where the last of the eventful things of the tournament happened. The last 2 days were also somewhat eventful, not as great of results, but they were fun. So there was a collegiate pairs event that was happening the second to last day of the tournament. And this was the way that collegiate pairs could get their scholarships if you're playing in the pair event. Unfortunately for me, I don't have anyone else from San Diego State that plays bridge, or at least not that I know of, because I take all of my courses online. I would never be eligible for a collegiate stipend or a collegiate scholarship because I'm not playing with somebody else from my college. I was planning on going there and being like, hey, I'm here to play. If anybody needs a partner, then great. Then I'll play. If not, I'll just have a fun time and I'll hang out with my director friends. Maybe I'll explore Philadelphia a little bit. I'll figure something out to do because I'm at nationals and I'm going to have fun. But like literally somewhere around 20 minutes before game time or something like that, I was also on a crusade to bribe one of my friends with coffee so that I could quit them from doing Duolingo. I'm not going to go into any more depth on that one. I'm just going to let that one simmer for a moment. It's just normal college wacky things that you do with your friends. But I get there to the collegiate place and I'm like, okay, I need a partner, but I'm happy to play. And then Amber Lynn is sitting there on the corner and she's looking for a teammate for someone. And I'm like, yeah, I need a partner. And she's like, you need a partner? And I'm like, yeah, I need a partner. And she was like, do you want to play in the 0 to 10K mixed Swiss? And I was like, sure, let's do it. She's like, okay, run over there. I'll let them know that you're there. And as the collegiates area is like away from everybody else, because the youth NABC was also happening at the same time, they keep them away from everyone else a little bit just because there's chaotic energy going on there. And you can't have chaotic energy going on too much at the Bridge World. But the 0 to 10K was a little bit of a walk. So I have like, at this point, it's 15 minutes game time. And Amber calls up my to-be partner, Katie Kwong. Lots of fun playing with Katie, by the way. Was an absolute blast. So we go and run over to the playing area and we have like 5 minutes to enter. And mind you, I still have not eaten my breakfast. Like I'm carrying my breakfast around. I'm carrying my bridge bag around. And I'm also carrying this coffee around. And I'm just like a crazy person carrying all this stuff around, and we still haven't even entered for this event, and we're running over. I haven't even met my partners yet, and I'm like, yo, Katie, let's go. And it was just a pickup partnership. I think our other teammates were Jonathan Yue and Caroline Zhao. It was just a random thrown together team. Neither of the partnerships had really played together before, so we were just gonna like wing it, just like 2-over-1. And at this point, I mean, I was playing 2-over-1. I was playing Strong Diamond. I was playing Wrong-Sided Spades. I was playing like this Strong Pass system. Like I played so many systems throughout the entirety of these nationals, whether it was just memes or actually competing. But we went and played in the 0 to 10K mixed Swiss. We had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we did not qualify. Our afternoon just had a bunch of unfortunate events where it was just difficult. Like things did not fall our way. But at the same time, we didn't play great. And the most painful thing is that they were qualifying like 2/3 of the field to go on to the next day. We did not qualify. We were like 5th from the bottom, and it was just unfortunate. But I had a lot of fun. I got to play with Katie. I got to meet Katie a little bit better and get to know Caroline and Jonathan a little bit better. So it was always a great time. Oh, and also there was that day after the 0 to 10K Swiss, there was a collegiate party that was happening. And this was something that was sponsored by ACBL Education Foundation. And there was going to be like a whole meetup thing. And they found this place like in downtown, down in the basement. It was like a ping pong club. Oh my God. It was so much fun. We went down there and we played bridge. I didn't actually play ping pong, but I had a few drinks. I had some food. It was great. The food was actually unbelievable. It was really tasty. So I had a lot of fun down there and I got to meet more people. There was also a crew from NYU. They taught me this game called Fish, which is like Go Fish, but a really fancier version of Go Fish where you have teams of 3. And the point is you have to get these groups of cards and you can't put them down on the table. Your team needs to obtain the cards in the set. And then you need to say who has what cards based off the logical questions that they did. So shout out to that crew. Thank you so much for teaching me that game. I was like, my mind was boggled. After that, we went back and the only other event that I could have played in was the fast pairs. And I'm not a fan of fast pairs. I don't like playing fast. I like to be thoughtful. I generally end up being fast enough anyway, but this whole time I've been in this mindset that I would not like fast pairs at all. I actually, in the end, don't really mind fast pairs, but I was not happy about having to play fast pairs. And on top of that, I would be playing Strong Diamond with Isaac, which is not a bad thing. It's just that playing fast with Strong Diamond, if we get into a relay auction, I'm going to have to think really fast. So the entire time, I'm just kind of like speeding through. But at the same time, I was considering going crazy because I know that I just need to take it less seriously. I need to relax and I just need to chill out. So what I was doing is like, okay, how can I artificially make this chill state happen without having to mentally get there and care too much? I was like, you know what? Here's the plan. We're going to go get drunk before in the morning before the fast pair set. And Isaac was like, yeah, I'm down. We woke up and, I was just in the mood to not do that. Like, part of it was that we didn't have enough time to go find booze because I was too busy trying to find my friend to continue bribing her with coffee because of the Duolingo. Still not going to go further in depth on that. But like at one point we needed to find breakfast. I needed to bribe someone with coffee. We did not find booze. So we were just like, okay, fine. We're just going to go and play. The first set ended up being okay. Felt pretty good. We were like at 55 or something. And then the second one, unfortunate, but like I guess maybe I could have used some booze then or at some point. But yeah, the fast pairs starts at 10 and the second session starts at like 1:30, so you get a very short break for lunch, but you're basically done at like 3:30 p.m., which is when the second session of the Roth Swiss was happening, which is like this 3-day Swiss team event with lots of the top players. It's a very premier event. My friends was playing there. My partner, Drew Cavalier, was playing with Eric Zhao, and I was like, I'm going to go kibitz. We're going to go see how they're doing. And also on that team was Sriram Borktak, Cool Beans, also known as Matthew Weingarten, as well as Christian Jolly and Julie Arbit, are also known as Krijal and Jubit online. Lots of really fun people, so I was kibitzing that time watching my friends. Unfortunately, they didn't do so well. Maybe it was my fault because I was kibitzing. I feel like that's definitely a possibility. But yeah, after that, go down, party with some people. I eventually got really nervous because I had accommodations with my friends that I would be staying at the airport hotel with them with 3 other collegiate players from U Alberta. I guess one is not from U Alberta, Kwan. I was like, I really need to go. I'm tired. And I have a flight I thought was going to be at 6 a.m. It was actually at 6 p.m. It happened again, team. Not great. But went to the hotel. I went to bed at 2 a.m. and then I wake up, I've got to check, and I slept in like super duper late. And I was feeling actually kind of sick at this point, and I was like, you get the little back of the scratchy throat. So thankfully it's just a quick walk to the airport. And I decided, you know what? I've got plenty of time. I'm chilling. I have until like 6:30 until my flight leaves. So I'm going to go chill out in the United Lounge. I get there and they're like, oh, sorry, just like 2 weeks ago, we made this change where if this is like your departing flight, you can only be in the lounge 3 hours prior to your flight. And they were like, oh, but with connecting flights, you can be there as long as you want. And I'm like, oh, I see. So I get kicked out of the United Lounge because I was just going to use one of my passes. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go get some other airport food. I went and had a fairly disappointing breakfast that did include hummus. It was unfortunately kind of disappointing. And I also learned that I don't like Bloody Marys, but they also do feel really good on a sore throat. So I will be using that trick again at some point. But I get back to the lounge when I'm supposed to, and I chill around in there. I catch up with some YouTube videos and things, and then bridge person after bridge person after bridge person is entering the lounge. I meet up with the darling Artie and Bill. They both are players in my local area that play a lot, and they play really well. They often hire pros. They've got great relationships and stuff, and they're really, really sweet. I got to know them while we're in the lounge. And my other friend who works at Civi with us, he's the treasurer, Makun Thapa, also arrived there. And we're just like chilling, having fun, having a chat. And then some other people that were from Texas, Thomas Rush and Janice Rush, also ended up in the lounge as well. And we were just chatting, having a good time and drinking some free wine. And at some point, they're like, okay, so what flight are you on? And I'm like, oh, I did some really, really bad planning. It was cheaper, but it wasn't smart. There was a direct flight to San Francisco that was leaving at 6:30, and there was a connection flight that was leaving at 6:50. What I had booked was the flight that had a connection through Chicago at 6:50, and I would have been arriving at home at 12 a.m. And then they were like, why are you not on the 6:30 flight? And I'm like, because it was more expensive. And she's like, well, it didn't seem like that much more expensive for me. And I was like, I can't tell you what my thoughts were at the time because when I'm booking flights, apparently I don't look at the times. Unfortunate. But eventually RT says to me, you're in United Lounge. You can go and ask them if they can change flights if there's space. And I was like, I can do that? That seems like crazy. And I walk over there and they like basically do it instantly. I was like, oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Like, instead of getting back at 12, I was getting back at like 8:30. thank you. Thank you so much. And my dad was picking me up from the airport, so he was very thankful as well. Yeah, eventually I made it home, and I got to chillax for a bit, for a week, and then I was off to Ashland, and I had plenty of other travel things to do. But yeah, that was my nationals. I hope you enjoyed the story. It's been a blast. Philadelphia NABC was absolutely amazing. I learned so much as a director. I had my best results ever at a national tournament. My partner and I got ourselves somewhere around like 26 platinum, plus I also got like a few other points here and there. But oh my gosh, so amazing. Huge shout out to Drew Cavalier. It was amazing being your partner, man. I look forward to another time, hopefully, when we can do it. I think we're making plans for St. Louis, and we're going to be going to Iceland together, so that's going to be awesome. With that, I think I just have to say, y'all, if you have not gone to a national yet, you need to go. If you are in the San Francisco area, there is a fall national here upcoming like right after Thanksgiving for about like 10 days. It's going to be a blast. I'll be there. I'll be directing pretty much the whole time. The next one after that is going to be spring in St. Louis, and then summer in Minneapolis. And then I'm pretty sure the next fall one is going to be in San Diego. Look forward to all of those amazing tournaments, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the Bridging with Kai YouTube channel so that we can continue growing Bridge together. Until next time, keep on bridging, everyone. Bye!